Welcome to another episode of David's Saturday Night Sit Back. Today, I am stoked to welcome Karli and Greg, the co-owners and coaches at CrossFit Lake Travis here in Austin, Texas. They are both CrossFit Level 2 trainers who hold Spot the Floss certificates, one that I have not heard of before, but definitely have some questions about. They are both parents, health and fitness enthusiasts, and have a passion for community. And one of our purposes, as the regular listeners know, is to tell stories around business, fitness, and culture with a goal to light that internal fire within you, the audience, and by the end of the episode, I have no doubt in my mind that with Karli and Greg, we will accomplish exactly that this week. So with that in mind, Karli, Greg, welcome both to your episode of DSNSB. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Definitely. So how's life?
Fantastic.
Good, it's busy, as always.
Busy is good.
Can't complain.
Are you happy?
Yes.
Yeah?
Always happy.
Good. So you both do not have to answer every question that I have for you today, but one that I hope that you will both answer is, what do we need to know about your past to give us some context as to who you are today?
Tough question.
That is a tough question. Like, how far past are we going?
As far back as you want to go.
Okay, so what do you want to know about our past that made us into who we are today?
Yeah.
I mean, sheesh. That is Greg, you want to go first?
Sure. I'll try to handle that one. I think for me, I took kind of an untraditional path through college and stuff like that. I wound up dropping out of college for a while. I went back to college, kind of tried to find my way in life, and it took a lot of time. And I think just for me, it kind of made me persevere through some stuff and just like try, and if you don't succeed, try some more. And I think I've kind of carried that into my more adult life. I have a successful career. We have a successful business. I have a great family, great wife, great kid. And I think it's just been like constant trial and lots of error, but keep trying.
Yeah.
I have kind of similar. For me, it was high school. I actually did not finish high school. I think it was my junior year I left high school. And then very quickly after I did that, I realized that this is not the path that I want for myself. So I got my GED and got that, received it before I would have graduated high school, and then immediately enrolled into community college. Started my journey in school there, and then continued on in DC, just knowing that that wasn't the path that I wanted for myself. I wanted better. And then went to college, met my husband, have many successful businesses, career in a hospital, but for myself knew I still wasn't happy, I will say. I mean, I was happy, but not fulfilled. Nutrition, fitness had always been an interest of mine, a passion of mine. I have some family members that weren't always the healthiest or chose the correct path in that direction, so I wanted to change it for myself. And then I found fitness was my love. But it wasn't until several years later that I pursued a career in owning a gym. I'm not sure if that answered the question you were kind of looking for, but
Definitely.
Maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, there's a whole lot that happened as a kid to where we are now to mold us into the people that we are, but there's a quick little.
Yeah. One of my other guests told me that he thinks that I forget the exact number, but like every 6 to 10 years, you sort of shed your identity a little bit and become a new person. And so as I was thinking about, like, I can't remember a lot from my childhood before like first grade-ish era. Mm-hmm. But as I do think about who I was from like 0 to 10, and then the teenage years, and then the 20s, and then now I'm in my 30s, I definitely fit that mold to like a T. That I totally have sort of changed as a person, and I think for the better. I hope. Yeah. I hope for the better at this point. So, what about you guys? As you think about that timeline, do you feel like you sort of shifted, not identities, but sort of like saw like these pretty big phases of your life change every 6 to 10ish years?
I mean, for me, for sure, I've had a lot of different things happen in my life that, yeah, I think maybe every 5 years, I notice a big difference, a big change.
I think 6 to 10 is pretty accurate for me. I mean, I talk about it from time to time. Like, the person I was in my 20s, the people I have in my life right now probably wouldn't like that person too much. So,
Yeah.
I can agree with that too, for myself, not for you, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we learn from things that we do, and we grow, we become better, at least for some of us.
Yeah. Some of us.
Yeah. And we learn from our mistakes, and we grow from that. And then both of us, we have kids. So then there's a whole nother chapter of your life that you enter in when you have kids, and you learn from your mistakes as when you were younger, and knowing whether or not you want those things for your own children. Yeah.
Where's home for both of you, or where were you born?
I was born in New Jersey.
Okay.
I was born in Jersey, but I moved to South Florida when I was 7. A lot of people in South Florida are from Jersey or New York, so it's, basically growing up in Jersey, but in South Florida. And then I moved to D.C., and then Virginia Beach, and then here.
What part of South Florida?
Coral Springs, near Boca.
Okay.
So Fort Lauderdale Beach was my stomping grounds when I grew up there.
It's funny. I was just in South Florida, landed in Fort Lauderdale, and was in the stayed in like the Boca Sunrise area. Went a little bit up north, a little bit. But I had to. My iPhone charger died on the way there, and there's a Wawa like 15 minutes from my hotel, and I thought I'm just gonna walk because I just got off a plane. I'm really tired, or not tired, but you know how it is after you fly. You just you haven't moved for hours on end. And so I walked there and back, and the next day I was telling my coworker this, and she's like, "You walked?" And I said, "Yeah." And she's like, "Why didn't you Uber?" And I said, "Because I just got off the plane. I wanted to walk." And she says, "That's really weird. Don't do that anymore. We don't walk here." Is that a thing?
In South Florida?
Yeah.
No, there's some walking. I mean, it's been a really long time since I've lived there.
Right.
I don't know. There's a lot of walking in Florida. At least were you by the beach?
We were. The office is in Sunrise, if that tells you anything.
Yeah. I mean, I'm from that area, but I don't know. But you said Wawa. I haven't heard of a Wawa in a really long time. Do those exist around here?
I don't think so.
I don't think they're in Texas.
I've never heard of that.
But they're in South Florida. They're in Virginia. They have, I don't know, that might be not as big or as clean, but kind of like this area is Buc-ee's maybe.
Right. Just not as big, not as clean.
Not as elaborate, yeah.
I'd never heard of it either. So another funny part of that story is I asked the guy working the front desk at the hotel, where is the closest, I said, my iPhone charger broke. Do you know where the closest place I could buy one is? And he says, he went Wawa. And I thought he was saying like, womp womp, like he was mocking me. And I was like, excuse me, I don't know how to take it. I was like,
sucks for you. You don't have a charger.
Right. It's like, all right, this is just got my first taste of South Florida. Not as friendly as Austin, but
this is true. That is true. Moving here was the first time I experienced living away from the East Coast, and it is definitely very different. I remember my husband got sent to Iraq 2 weeks or 2 days, 2 or 3 days before we moved here. So I moved here by myself, and I remember being in Home Depot, and people just kept saying hi. And I'm like, I don't know this person. I remember calling my husband and telling him that it is very different. Like, people actually just say hi. Yeah. You don't get that in Jersey or South Florida or the East Coast for that matter. People don't just randomly say hi. They honk at you to move out of the way and are just not the nicest. So here, it's very different.
Yeah. Yeah, I have noticed that. I've only been in Austin for a little under a year, and I feel like I've formed like some more like deeper relationships with some people than I did at 20 years in my hometown. And I don't think that's because I've drastically changed at all from moving from one place to another. The podcast definitely helps because you meet all sorts of people. But yeah, it's I love it here. It's been a good first impression for sure.
Yeah, I moved here from the Bay Area in California, and it's the same thing. I mean, people are just friendly, and they want to take the time to get to know you, and you know, it is important for them to say hi, and it's that's been one of the best things, I think, for me moving here, too.
So California is home for you?
It is, yep.
Nice.
So I moved here about 5 years ago from San Jose area.
Okay. Why Austin?
You know, I work in tech. That's my day job. And my wife and I met in California, and we just got to the point where, like, we wanted to try something different than California. And there's, you know, half a dozen tech hubs in the U.S. For me to work in, at least. And so I applied to 4 or 5 of them, and Austin worked out first. So
Nice.
it was a leap of faith. I'd only been here for about 48 hours for my interview, and just decided it was cool enough to give it a try.
Yeah. What was there anything? I know you just said it was a leap of faith, but was it truly that, or what did the people sort of sell you on the job? Was there anything specific you saw or did while you were in town that sort of got you over the ledge a little bit?
I mean, I didn't do anything when I was here other than the interview, and the job was cool. The people were nice enough, but I didn't know anything about Austin, so it was, I guess I got here and I was like, you know, had all my conceptions about Texas and Texas people in my head, especially coming from California, and I was like, maybe it's not all true. So, yeah, I mean, it was a short trip, but...
Wait, what do people in California say about Texans?
Yeah,
Well,
Because I know what Texans say about people from California, but...
Well, I know. So my wife is originally from Houston, and when we met in California, one, I didn't realize how big of a city that Houston is, and two, like, I was baffled that she didn't know how to cook pies, and she didn't have horses on her property, and so, you know, it's probably my own bad for thinking that, but you know, you think country, you think cowboys, you think Southern women, and yeah, it's a little bit different. I'm sure there's plenty of that, but there's a lot more in Texas than that.
Lawrence is my husband. His name is Lawrence. He is from a small town outside of Houston, and we also have property in Fairfield, Texas, which is in the middle of nowhere, Texas. It is, if you know where Mejia is, it's like Waco, keep going, Texas, like in the middle of nowhere. I don't know if it still is now, but like dry town in the middle of nowhere, small little town. That was my first experience of Texas when we went and visited his parents, and we had to go to the Sonic in town just to get our cell phones to turn on, kind of small town. So when he brought up possibly thinking about moving to Texas, that's what I thought. Like very country, very middle of nowhere. But then we came to Austin, and it's like a different world. I don't think this is your Texas.
Did you spend any time in Austin before you guys moved here?
We spent maybe a weekend because we came to look around. We went to Fairfield, and then we drove to New Braunfels to float the river. And then we drove here just looking around, I think, for maybe 2 days. And we were like, this is it. This is where we want to be. Yeah. Is not anything like being on 4-wheelers and shooting squirrels from the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved it here, though, immediately, too.
One of my buddies in California, when I told him I was moving out here, he said, well, make sure to get your plates changed right away. Because if you're driving down the street and people see another California license plate, they're going to start throwing stuff at your car. It's like, I feel like they're not going to be that aggressive. Like, maybe I'll get a mean mug look, you know, but like, I don't think people are going to attack me. And sure enough, I never had things thrown at my car.
Yeah. I don't know. I have so many friends who are from California, but sometimes they just want you to know they're from California. They're like, hey, I'm so-and-so. We moved here from California. I'm like, so I did not. I am not from California. But I don't know. I love Austin.
I do too.
I do 3. It's been fun. As far as CrossFit goes, Karli, I know that before you found CrossFit, you went to traditional gyms such as Gold's, bar, spin class, HIIT training, curve, and even rollerblading for health and fitness purposes.
Do I have that on my...
It's somewhere on
I
mine.
think it is on I did. I used to actually... Rollerblading, like, started my fitness journey, believe it or not. Growing up in South Florida, everything is very flat. So you don't have to worry about hills or busting your ass on rollerblades because it's very flat. And I think at the age of, I don't even know, to be honest, maybe it was 14 or 15, I just started rollerblading with a couple girlfriends, and that is how I started fitness. It's rollerblading. My mom used to go to Curbs. I did Curbs with her a couple times. Do you even know what that is, Greg?
No.
Do they exist? I
Isn't
don't
that
even
like
know.
is it sort of like an Orange Theory?
Kind of. I mean, I've personally never taken an Orange Theory class, but I know of it, and I think that it's very similar. But it's like circuit training, and you're in a spot. Like you walk into a room, and there's all different exercises, and you go from one to the next to the next to the next. It's like, circuit training. I don't know if you're like there for 30 seconds or a minute, and whether it be squats, which I was probably doing incorrectly, or I don't know. I did that. I did Gold's Fit for a long time. I did that, not Gold's Fit, Gold's Gym. When I moved here, I needed to find a gym, so I just Googled gym, and that's the first closest thing that popped up. Your recreational gyms where you have to spend an hour in cardio, an hour doing weights, and just aimlessly wandering around, not knowing what to do. I did that. I took a lot of boot camp style classes. But yeah, rollerblading started me on that path.
That's awesome.
I remember when I moved to DC though, I slapped my rollerblades on, and I went out the front door and went flying because I did not realize how steep the hill was. I lived with my cousins at the time, and fell. I freaked out because I went flying down the hill. I jumped in the pile of grass that was next to me to break my fall. Did a quick look around to make sure nobody was there, and then took them off and went back inside, and that was the end of my rollerblading. That was it. It wasn't Florida anymore. And then I joined a gym.
Do you still have a pair?
I do not, but I did just go with my kids to a roller skating birthday party, and I put on some rollerblades, and I still got it. I do. He was quite impressed. I may have embarrassed him, but whatever.
Did you get to a skill point where you could do like tricks or like this really fast spin?
I did a spin, but it was like the stop. You rollerblade and then you turn it to the side to stop it. I did it. I was a little nervous though because my 9-year-old would have been mortified if I fell, but it was fun.
What was your introduction to health and fitness like, Greg? Do you remember why you got into it and about how old you were?
Rollerblading. No.
I'm going to make him and his wife go rollerblading with me.
I will totally do that. I actually did like rollerblading back in the day. It was
fun.
For me, I mean, I played sports growing up, but it was more just like as a means to do something. And I wound up moving to Colorado for high school and kept playing sports, I guess, at the beginning of high school, and then just kind of moved away from it. And so I didn't really get back into fitness until after I graduated my undergrad. I think, I don't know, I was maybe 28 or something around there. And I was just really, really unhealthy at that point in my life. And I was overweight, like struggled with, self-image and all that stuff. And just decided to kind of clean my act up a little bit and join like a 24-hour fitness Gold's Gym type stuff. And really didn't talk to anybody, taught myself how to lift weights, taught myself how to eat healthy. And I spent probably the next like 6 or 7 years doing that kind of fitness. And then eventually moved here, and that's when I found CrossFit and haven't looked back since.
Why didn't you think you talked to anyone while you were in there?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not.
He doesn't talk to anybody now.
I'm really not the most social person in the world. Just kind of in all aspects of my life. But it's funny because like at CrossFit and at, our gym in particular, like that's the highlight of my day is seeing the people there and talking to the people there. And it took a long time. Like I think Karli and I worked out for like
this is what he says.
A year together. And I was the guy that was over in the corner.
He said that I didn't talk to him for like a year, and he's lying. There's a group of us. He's like, y'all just ignored me until I fell off the wall one day and hurt myself. And then I think you said I reached out and was like, are you okay?
Yeah. I was like, they do know who I was. So.
Why were you ignoring him? I'm
We
kidding.
weren't.
I'm kidding.
But we have another. He's a very good friend of ours. His name is Philip. Hi, Philip. He swears that we used to call him the wrong name for like a year. I'm like, you're crazy.
Patrick.
Patrick.
Oh, sorry, Phil.
Sorry, Philip.
We still call him Patrick.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. I accidentally, I had like a weird brain funk the other day, and my friend Ransom, I saw him in the gym, and I called him Miles for no reason at all, and he was just like, what? Like, you drunk? You high? Like, what's going on here? What was that? It's like, dude, I don't know. I'm so sorry. Just like I don't know.
It happens.
It happens.
I
to
call
the-
my kids the wrong names all the time.
Really? Mm-hmm. Is it like a joke?
No.
Oh.
No, I mean, at least they're like, I'll call my kids' names are Odin and Gray. So I'll call Gray Odin Gray. Our dog's name is Nightmare. I'll call him Night. I'm like, oh my God, who are you? Which one are you?
Yeah.
It just happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the falling off the wall incident?
You know, I still
Still have it on video.
I still don't know that well. I mean, we were
He
doing
did.
like
It was
some,
a handstand hold of some sort where you kick up and you lean up against the wall, and he just fell over and really hurt himself.
Oh, no.
I know.
I hurt my knee doing a handstand hold, which is
We don't really know how it happened, but only Greg would hurt himself doing a handstand hold.
yeah.
But you caught it on camera.
Well, the gym has cameras.
Gotcha.
So we did not own the gym at the time. Friends of ours did, and he pulled it up on the camera footage and sent it to us to see.
Nice.
Yeah.
There, you should send that to me, and I'll put that in the YouTube version of this. If you're
Can do.
even if
Can
you're
do.
not okay with
Yeah.
that, we might still just do it on our own.
I'm
do it.
okay with it.
I'm okay with it.
I don't know what it is about gym fail videos that is. It just tickles me in a way that other videos do not.
I'll always post my fails.
Yeah.
Like, people think, we'll use myself for example, like our members who come into the gym, if they see the way that we lift or the way that we are, like, we didn't start there.
Right.
We have fails too. We started somewhere where we were not anywhere near the level we're at now, but there's a lot of fails that come with that. So I like to post that kind of stuff because people need to see that it happens.
Shows you're human.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one's perfect.
Yeah, I think it was just like a week ago. One of our newer members that
Oh,
has
she was
just been
there
doing,
for it
doing awesome, and she saw Karli fail
over and over again.
one of her lifts.
Was it
and
like a new movement, a new way?
No, it was actually a weight that I should have been able to get.
that she did like the day before?
And I actually looked at her and I said, see, Maria. Oh, I just called her out. That's fine. Maria. Hi,
Cut it
Maria.
out.
I looked over at her and I said, see, I failed too. And she's like, this is so good for me right now. She's like, I'm sorry you're failing, but this is really good for me to see. And it is. So
Yeah.
there you go.
So you mentioned, Karli, in your bio specifically, that as you were going through all these different forms of working out, whether it was spin or HIIT training or whatnot, that you weren't satisfied and you weren't achieving the results you were looking for. Were you just looking to be like healthier in general? Or I know even when you described like the traditional gym, you made it sound almost a little boring. Hour of cardio, hour of weights, sort of wandering around aimlessly. What were you looking for? Anything specific?
I have always, once I decided for myself that I wanted to have a healthier lifestyle, and my mom did an amazing job with the resources that she was given, because I'm 40, so I grew up where when I was a kid, like fat-free stuff was a thing. And, you know, that's what people were being told, like fat-free this, fat-free that, low fat, no fat is healthy. But all the ingredients that go into something to make it non-fat or healthier is really not good for you at all. But that's what we were being fed as kids because that's what they were told was good. But when I started really researching for myself, I wanted to change that for myself. I started doing exercise, and I would eat what I thought was healthy and exercise the way that I thought that I should, but I wasn't achieving the results that I thought that I deserved for myself as far as appearance or my ability level in the gym. But mainly for me, probably just appearance and the way that I looked with how hard that I worked. Until I found CrossFit, and then changed the way that I was eating at the time to the way that I still continue to eat now. with all those other fitness regimens, they just didn't work for me. I wasn't getting the results until I found CrossFit. That's what I mean, like my appearance and my abilities in the gym.
Were you sold from the first CrossFit?
From the first time I did CrossFit, and I have to tell you, I still kick myself till this day because my husband and I have very good friends who tried to talk to me about CrossFit years ago. And I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, it's just not for me. It seemed very, like when people still think it right now, like it's very, I don't want to say cult because that's a really bad word, but people think that about CrossFit. And I kind of was that person. I'm like, it's not for me. It's ridiculous. And paleo, it's one paleo. I eat a very strict paleo diet to this day. But back then, I'm like, it's not for me. So several years went by. And I was doing Pure Barre. Do you know what that is?
It's like, no.
It's almost like I love it. It's really great. And this is not a hit at it, but it's very like dance like ballet bar stuff.
Okay.
And I was doing that, and one of my coaches there also coached CrossFit, and this is here in Texas. And she just convinced me to go to a class one day, and I finally did it, and I just never looked back. I loved it immediately. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that, and then I kicked myself for not trying it 5 years sooner.
Yeah.
But it just worked for me. I did it through pregnancy, just kept me healthy. My water actually broke during a workout. It was like, yeah, my little one was almost born in a CrossFit gym.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and now he's grown up in one. So, yeah.
How about you, Greg? Were you sold from the first class you took, or?
Yeah, I was actually. So it was one of those things too. Like I wanted to try CrossFit. I had some friends that were really into it in California, and it was just like, it was easier for me to stick with what I had been doing. And I think I signed up probably for half a dozen free trials and never made it in the door there. And then when we moved here, my wife actually signed both of us up for a trial. And I actually went in there and I felt like I was in pretty good shape and did the workout or tried to do the workout and was just blown away by the fitness of people in there and the caliber of what they could do. Like I couldn't even fathom like being able to finish a workout like that. And so it kind of pointed out from day one that I had a long way to go on my fitness journey. And it was just fun, right? Like I didn't have to think about what I was going to do at the gym. I didn't have to spend 2.5 hours there, 2 hours there. Like you get in, you get out. It's quick. It's super challenging. Every day is different. And it's just like, it dumbs it down for me. I just do as I'm told. And it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, and to piggyback off that, back to recreational gym, and this isn't a hit at that at all, because I say this all the time, just people getting up off their sofas to do fitness is more than the majority of the world does, and I think it's absolutely amazing.
Yep.
But back to a recreational gym, you walk in there, if you're me, and I have no freaking clue what to do with some of these machines. You're teaching yourself by reading the label, like on the outside of the machine, to tell you how to do it. There's no coaches walking around showing you, so I probably never did any of them correctly. You walk in, and you're having to think about your workouts. So you're having to program it yourself, where you walk into a CrossFit gym, it's an hour of cardio and weight training in the same hour. The coach tells you what to do. The workouts are programmed. Every single day is different. You don't have to think about it. You just have to show up. Yeah. You literally just have to walk in the door and show up. And then that's it. You obviously have to work, but you're being told what to do and you're being told how to do it.
Yeah.
That is what is amazing about CrossFit.
So I really wanted to show up on Thursday so I could have done a
CrossFit. You didn't show up.
No, I still want to if the invite's still there.
Yes, of course.
Because I did tell myself that I want to start that once I moved to Austin, started the podcast. I also wanted to do things that I normally wouldn't do or would make me uncomfortable, and so. The reason I haven't shown up in general, not to CrossFit Lake Travis specifically, but just in general, is two reasons. For me, between the podcast and between my day job, which is recruiting, I talk to people all day long. And so to be able to put in my headphones, that's like sort of my 60 to 75 minutes of peace and alone time. And I'm listening to my music and I just sort of go through my workout. And so my only reason I haven't gone yet is because being like with a group of people, and this is gonna sound so bad, but doing like even more interacting, I'm like, oh, that sounds awful. I do not want to go to the gym and talk to people.
We actually have a few members who will listen at the white. Every class starts at the whiteboard with a briefing, and then we actually do have a few members who put in their earbuds and listen to their own music while they're doing the workout.
Okay.
It's an option.
Okay. So you can still sort of
Yeah,
isolate it
absolutely.
a little
For
bit.
sure.
We have some members who just want to be super involved and talk. We have some, especially early morning, that just come in and hang out in the back corner and do in their little bubble and work out, and that's completely acceptable.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That helps a little bit. The other thing
It should help a lot of it.
It helps a ton. I would say that's 50% of it. The other 50% of it, and I'll be curious what your response to this is probably about 3 years ago, give or take. I started getting this stinging pain above the top of my elbow. Have not gone to see anyone about it, which I probably should. I have health insurance. But what I also like about the gym is I can just pivot. So if I go to do a dumbbell bicep curl and I feel it flare up, it's like, all right, I'm just not going to do this today. Put the dumbbells down, find a different bicep workout. And I just keep pivoting until I find something that works, whatever muscle group I'm trying to work without the pain flaring up. So
We have modifications for everything and coaches who help you find the proper modification.
And it's
for
nice
what your
'cause,
injury is.
Yeah, you'll still get the intended stimulus
Yeah.
of what the workout is for the day, but a good coach will help you figure out any kind of modification to where it doesn't hurt.
Well, I'm out of excuses. Off to the box we
Completely.
go.
Let's go.
That took all of 2
Zero
minutes.
excuses.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're obviously there's so many CrossFit gyms across the world, and they're all very unique and special in their own way. Some of them are geared towards different crowds. Some of them have younger crowds. Some of them have older crowds. Some of them, have more coaching than others. You just gotta, and they're not all the same. That's not a bad thing.
Right.
They're all very unique, but there are gyms. I've personally walked into some CrossFit gyms where the coaching isn't the greatest, and I think that's a big problem too, where people have this view of CrossFit because maybe they walked into the wrong gym one time and then they won't go back. But in a proper CrossFit gym, you will have coaches that help you figure out modifications for whatever your injury may be.
Gotcha.
CrossFit is for everyone.
So what does anyone call it, CFLT, or am I just projecting?
No,
that?
we do.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, we do.
So at CFLT specifically, what would you say makes your guys' box either unique, special, different, whatever the thing may be?
Our members.
The members.
Members, yeah.
Our community. Our coaches absolutely are amazing, but our community is what makes it, along with our coaches. We are CrossFit, again, in the proper environment, is very community. We're all about celebrating each other, being there for each other, cheering for each other. And Greg and I have worked really hard at building an amazing community, and we have that. And honestly, that's it. It's community. And obviously coaches. We put a lot of time and effort into our coaches. We do coaches development once a month with our coaches. We want everybody to feel comfortable. We do round table with them in our coaches development meeting just to make sure that, everybody is, I don't even know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We want to just have excellence all the way around with our members and our coaches.
And I think the coaching in a lot of way helps drive the community, right? Like
Yeah.
the people that we have at CFLT, like everybody genuinely wants to get better, and like health and fitness is a big part of their life. CrossFit's a big part of their day, and it's the least that Karli and I can do to make sure that they have excellence in coaching every time they go and are safe, having a good time, and getting better.
How did you guys met at CrossFit? I glean. It sounds like you were both working out at the same box at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we met.
So how did sort of the evolution of you falling over to you guys opening a gym together?
So, it's honest. It's nothing super magical. We So CrossFit Lake Travis has been around for 10 years. Back in 2020, a lot of CrossFit gyms dropped the affiliation, and ours happened to be one of them. The owners at the time, it was their choice, totally fine. But around that time, the previous owners, they just had so many different things going on in their life that they couldn't put the focus that they wanted to into the gym. And it was apparent to a lot of us members there. And I personally have always wanted to own a CrossFit gym. I just did not have the bandwidth or the time to do it on my own, especially from the ground up. With that said, I also did not have the time or bandwidth to take over a gym by myself. And I don't know that the previous owners knew at the time that they wanted to sell, or maybe they did. But it was still, a couple of years went by after 2020, and, COVID times got back to a little bit normal. I was like, this is my time. I want to own a gym. I can tell that they just have so many other things going on in their life. When they started the gym, they did not have kids, and they had kids, and just, they needed to move on from it. So I went to him, Greg, who's, at the time, obviously we're much closer now, but a good friend of mine at the time. And I'm like, you know what? We can do this together. We'd be perfect. And he was game, talked to his wife about it, and we were like, let's do it. So we approached them and the owners, and we just made it happen. And it's been magic ever since.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you said in 2020 a lot of CrossFit gyms dropped their affiliation. What does that mean?
So you have to be affiliated, just like any, what was the gym you mentioned before?
Golds or
No.
Orange Theory?
Orange Theory, like all of those kind of gyms, we don't really call ourselves franchises, but they're all different franchises. Like there's owners of the gym, but the person who owns the Orange Theory in Lakeway doesn't own Orange Theory. They own that Orange Theory. So you have to be affiliated.
Gotcha.
So in 2020, there was just, some stuff that went on with CrossFit where a lot of owners dropped the affiliation, meaning you don't pay the yearly. You're not associated with them. You can't call yourselves a CrossFit gym. You can't really partake in the CrossFit,
there's
world.
A big annual competition called the CrossFit Open, and it's one thing if you're not an affiliate, you can't sponsor it, you can't do it at your gym, you can't submit scores. So, for people that want to go to CrossFit and are competitive, obviously not having that affiliation is kind of a big deal.
Yeah. So did that cause CrossFit to change their business model at all, to your guys' knowledge, when a lot of boxes started dropping their affiliations?
Not really.
No.
They went through their own, like headquarters went through new, I guess we can say ownership, but they went through their whole, oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. We can bleep this part out.
Sure.
They went through what do we call it when you're
like a
clean
restructuring?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Of their own, with new people and new, what did they do? It wasn't management, but.
Well, they brought in a new CEO.
Yeah, they got a new CEO. They did change a little bit, but the whole concept of CrossFit did not change. Maybe the way they structured a little bit did, but the whole concept of it was still there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff we don't probably need to put on here that happened in, CrossFit world, but it kind of pissed a lot of people off, and they unaffiliated. But we wanted to stay CrossFit.
Yeah.
So the second we took over, we reaffiliated, and we were a CrossFit gym immediately and brought it back. And then just started growing.
Yeah.
Building a community.
Shoot, what was I going to ask? We were talking about what we didn't need to get into with the changes of ownership. Oh, is the CrossFit Open, is that in February by chance?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
I had a buddy who visited me in February. He was the first guest on the podcast. And when he was out here, he was like, we have to find a CrossFit gym for me to go to because I have to do this, that, and the other. I sort of stopped listening to him. I was like, yeah, fine, whatever, man. We'll
It's
find
so
a gym.
fun. It's so fun.
It is fun.
Well, you can bring him to our gym next time.
We will
if
come to
he's
you guys
here.
next time. Yeah. Well, he visited from California, And he called me up after he went home. He came out to Austin for a week and we acted like tourists and just did, all things all over town. And he calls me a couple months later and says, I had so much fun visiting you in Austin. I'm moving to Dallas. That's sort of that was my reaction. I was like, wait, what?
So very different.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
he did go out there for a few days to apartment hunt, but I don't know. He's a funny dude.
Like, did you
Did
really?
you have that much fun? I feel like you lied to me. Maybe I
Yeah.
scared you away from Austin.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yep. If you're looking for someone to be a business partner with, what was it that you saw in each other that made it seem like it was going to be a good fit? Because that seems like it's sort of not like a huge deal. I mean, if it wasn't working out, one of you could just exit, the other one takes over. But also, if there was someone looking for this who did sort of want to co-own something, or they have a podcast, maybe they want to co-host, how do you find that other person?
Well, I think for this kind of environment, like to own a gym in general, there are different owners, right? So there are owners who are super involved and there are owners who aren't, and it can work either way. But to own a gym and to be involved in it, I think you have to be extremely passionate about it, and that is how it works. And I knew that he was. We had been working out together for a really long time. Like I said before, I'm a very loud in your face person, and he is not. So I think it was a good balance. And I think just both of us being super passionate about it and having that balance between personalities is what was going to make it amazing.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's the same for me. And I guess on top of that, I always trusted Karli. She never gossiped or anything like that, or lied or made stuff up, and she's hardworking. And so for me, when I can trust a business partner that's going to carry their weight and do what they say they're going to do, I think that's super important.
Yeah. Yeah, just even those basic ethics that you just mentioned, as like gossiping, lying. I still see some of that in the workplace these days, and
I mean, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Since being in business together and working with CrossFit Lake Travis, what's been one of your favorite memories of owning the box?
Our favorite memory thus far. Honestly, for me, aside from seeing how happy our members are, is I think, and we're getting ready to come up on it again, but we do a Friendsgiving and then our holiday party, just seeing the reaction in the crowd that comes together for that and just how happy everybody is. That's it. That's all I need.
Yeah.
For me, it's not, I don't know, I guess there's a couple things. So one is a lot of our members come up to Karli and I and talk about how the community is just something they never believed was possible. And just meeting close friends, and, a lot of people talk about how the gym has changed their lives and changed their families' lives. And we have a ton of people, obviously different backgrounds, like CrossFit is for everybody. But there's a lot of people that have struggled with something before getting to CrossFit, and it gives them kind of a healthy outlet. And, I can think of 5 or 6 different families who have pulled one of us aside and just said, thank you guys so much. This has done more for my family than I ever could have imagined.
Yeah, he's right. I mean, we receive text messages. We receive constant comments from people saying, thank you so much. CrossFit has changed my life. And that's huge. It changed my life.
Yeah.
And to know that we can help people change their life, and the whole CrossFit community can do that for people, it's pretty special.
Yeah.
I think another one specifically just recently. So Karli was nice around I think the state of the gym when we took over, and it was not super healthy in my opinion. Membership was dwindling. It just it needed to be turned around in the nicest sense of things. And so I don't know, in the course of 18 months, we went to a local competition, 2 weeks ago, and half of that competition in Leander was people from CrossFit Lake Travis. And it's
That's
just
super
like,
awesome.
it's a change in mentality for our community. Like we have RX teams, which is like the how would you describe RX?
RX is like your elite, like, you know,
Yeah, so we had elite teams.
You can do everything. When you walk into a gym and they give you an RX workout, this is what it should be, not should be. This is what we're suggesting. But then if we need to scale accordingly to your, you know, ability level. So he's saying there were 3 different categories
so we
in
had
this
elite teams, we had intermediate teams, we had scaled teams, and just like for 14 people to go to Leander and spend all Saturday together doing a competition, it was just awesome.
And
like,
just having fun.
Yeah.
Being together, cheering for each other. We invited you, but you did not show. But if you come see us during the open, you will see just the community supporting each other and cheering, and even not just members from our gym cheering for our competitors. It's the whole entire community of CrossFit. Everybody just cheers, and if somebody's struggling to hit a lift or to hit, you know, whatever the movement is, just people cheering. You could do it.
Yeah.
It's just, you know.
I don't remember what box we went to, but Jake, my buddy who moved to Dallas, I went with him to watch. And one thing I did notice was that the majority of the other members that were there introduced themselves to them. Mm-hmm. They were all in full blown conversation by the end of it. And I did point that out to him as we were driving back home, because if you go to a traditional gym, it's very easy to go in and out and not have anyone talk to you. And in fact, it might be even strange if you're in the middle of your workout and someone comes up to you and just starts talking to me. I'll be like, what? Why are you talking to me? You know, but there it almost seemed like it was just second nature of, oh, here's this person that we've never seen in our gym before. Let's all go introduce ourselves to him. And I did think that there was something sort of warming and heartfelt about that I really, really liked.
I think it's weird when I drop into a CrossFit gym out of state, you know, if I'm out of town and they don't say hi to me, I'm like, where am I?
Yeah,
like, is anybody going to introduce themselves? Like, tell me where to put my stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you walk into our gym, and not just our coaches, but every single one of our members will welcome you with open arms. They will show you around. They will cheer for you. And that's what it's about.
So what does community mean to each of you guys?
So community for me, as far as our gym goes, our community is it does not matter where you are in life, what your background is, what your career is, what your education is. You walk into our gym, you come from different walks of life, and every single person is a family inside our gym. And it doesn't matter, like I said, any of those things. You walk in there and you're a part of our family. You're a community. Everybody just being there for each other, not caring, you know, what goes on the outside. That answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I can add any more. Just like a place where you feel like you belong, you're comfortable. You look forward to being there. There's people you can trust, talk to.
And one of the other amazing things is there are people inside our gym that maybe never in a million years would be friends outside the gym, or would have never crossed paths, or never even thought they would have anything in common with another person. But then they meet at CrossFit, and like, for example, we have 2 members. One of them's a teenager. One of them is an adult who has kids. They work out together all the time. They love each other. They support each other, and they're friends. That would never happen outside.
Right.
So it's big. We love it. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah. If you had the power to snap your fingers and fix any one problem on the planet, it's immediately eradicated, what problem would you think you would make go away? And I bring this up now because I think a lot of people, when I ask this question, they might default to like, you know, cancer or homelessness or clean water. But there's also these other factors such as like such as loneliness. I know some guy friends back home who are just, I'll just stick with that word, just lonely. You know, they don't have a lot of friends, and they're awesome people, but I can tell they're like sort of suffering a little bit. And so I don't know. I almost think that like that might be one of my the problem I might solve maybe is loneliness. But I don't know. What was your guys' sort of gut reaction, or what's sort of going through your head as I posed that question to you?
Man.
Yeah. There's some tough questions
Yeah.
you're throwing at us. I don't know. I think, I mean, there's so many different directions I can go with this question. But looking at it from a health and gym side of it, I would say, honestly, like medical conditions, diabetes, things of that nature. Like half of the time, people who are diagnosed with all of these illnesses go to the doctor, they're thrown some medication as a Band-Aid to fix it. But if people would just walk into a gym and start exercising and maybe look at your kitchen a little bit, a lot of those things go away. And people don't realize that. And I obviously am not a doctor giving people medical advice, saying if you go to a gym, you're not going to have medical issues. That's not what I'm saying at all. But a lot of times, people who are on medication for things like diabetes, if you just do something healthy, fix your kitchen, go work out in a gym, your numbers and your blood work will change.
Yeah.
So if I can fix one thing, I would think people who don't have a healthy, active lifestyle, just get up off the sofa and try it.
So
Just try.
Almost be like laziness or passivity is what you would,
Maybe.
light a fire under everyone's ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Greg?
Laziness.
Laziness.
Yeah.
That's what I would fix.
Yeah.
Or saying, I can't to, I know this is so cliche, but I can't to I can. Like, just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
What about you, Greg?
I don't know. I guess general health and happiness, and a lot of what Karli just said, but like to extend the diabetes example, like I really do believe that like a lot of cases of people taking antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication, it's maybe the easier path or just, I don't know, people don't know that maybe they have other options. And, obviously there's cases where that's absolutely necessary. But, yeah, I think just getting people motivated to do something different. I think a lot of us can be stuck. I think a lot of people can be stuck. Your loneliness example, like there are a lot of lonely people. And, you get to a point where you think maybe that's just how life is. And I think it's hard to just do something different. Like we're all creatures of habit, and it's uncomfortable to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
I think what about like just normalizing a healthy lifestyle? It's so beyond so many people's belief to do that. I'll use myself for example. I eat a very strict paleo diet. I have for 8 years, maybe 7, something like that. And I have not broken. It's my way of life. It makes me feel good. I go out to eat 9 out of 10 times there's something on the menu I have to change because something is always smothered in cheese or it's got something on it that I'm not going to eat. And I know that, so I have no problem telling the waiter, give me this chicken with no cheese on it or whatever. I can't tell you how many times I get comments made towards me, my family included. I love y'all, but you know who you are. It's so, nobody judges the person who is going to eat the lasagna smothered with cheese and bacon and all the fat that's thrown into that, but they're going to judge the person who's going to order the chicken parmesan without the cheese and the pasta.
It's fascinating, huh?
Why?
Yeah.
Like, why do I get looks and I get eye rolls, but the person who's eating the fried, whatever chicken fried steak doesn't get the look. And the person who lives the healthier lifestyle, and for women, I think it's getting a little bit better now, but to have like a little extra muscle on you as a woman sometimes is like, oh my God, it's too much muscle. She's too muscly. She has too much this. But do you ever hear anybody say that person is too overweight? No, never. So I think it's kind of backwards and twisted. Like to normalize just a healthy lifestyle would be nice.
Yeah.
And I went over in a little rant.
I love that. Was a beautiful rant.
This happens to me a lot. Like, and my mom has worked so hard. I'm so proud of you, Mom. She's worked so hard at turning her life around into a little bit more of a healthy lifestyle and the food choices that she makes. And we do have those family members that, oh, when she's with Karli, she eats that way. Well, she's trying. Can we just give her a kudos instead of dogging on her?
Right.
You know, it's hard. It is really hard for people to choose healthier options.
Yeah.
So let's just like, you know, applaud them for that instead of making them feel like shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember during COVID, I was unemployed for a little bit and the gyms back in my hometown weren't open. And I noticed that my own drinking habits got to be earlier and earlier in the day. And I scared myself a little bit. And so I ended up going on about 120 days of no drinking. And I didn't know exactly how long I was. At first, I was just like, I just need to put all this aside for a minute and focus on getting a job, getting back to the gym. And so I did. And I remember one of my friends, when I was around like day 40 or 45 or 50, he was like, how long are you going to keep this going for? And I was like, I don't know. You know, it could be forever, it could be tomorrow. But for today, I just, like, life is in a really good spot. I'm super happy. Don't really feel like drinking.
Yeah.
And I remember he was so confused by it. I could see, like, a look in his face that I had never seen before of, like, just confusion is the best word for it. And so about 2, 3, 4 weeks later, I texted him to see if he wanted to go to the gym with me or to go play billiards or something. And we both had iPhones and my number was blocked. And that was the last conversation I ever had with him. And I thought, was this because of the drinking or did something else happen that just went so over my head? And so to your point, I remember just thinking like it's unfortunate that and I'll never know, right? Because we haven't spoken since then. I haven't tried to contact him again because I figured if he ever changes his mind and wants to reach out, he has my number, literally. But it did feel very strange that was the last conversation we had. And here I am, you know, just cut out this thing for my life for however long it lasts, you know, a couple months, a couple years. And he couldn't grasp that concept of what, you know, where I was at. But I don't know. There's my rant for the episode.
Yeah, I mean, Greg doesn't drink. I don't drink. I mean, it's been I don't even honestly remember the last time I had a drink. My husband doesn't drink. And
my
I think
wife doesn't drink.
Yeah, I think for some people, I don't want to say I'll never have a drink again in my life. I just choose not to drink. It makes me feel better. I am super obviously into fitness. I compete very competitively. It just makes me feel better. But for some people, they just can't understand that. They're like, what do you mean?
What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Well, and I think you mentioned during COVID times you were drinking a lot? Is that what you said?
Right.
So me too. And I would find myself like, is it 5 o'clock yet?
Right.
Oh, who cares? It's 12. Yep. Like, am I going anywhere? And then it was just like too much. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yes.
And I just don't drink at all anymore now, but people just don't understand how that is possible.
Yeah.
Just like people don't understand how you can work out every day. They think we're crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have no idea. Because even my mom, again, love you, Mom, but if I go 2 days without working, I'm like, oh my God, I can't. Like, I need to work out. People don't understand. Unless you are accustomed to that lifestyle, you then realize just makes you feel good.
Yeah. What about...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
What about you, Greg? Why do you drink rarely or not very often?
For me, I think I always struggled with like drinking moderately. Like when I drank a lot. Yeah. And I don't know. It got to a point. So I have a 3.5-year-old daughter, and my parents drank a lot when I was growing up, and I never wanted her to see that. And so I made a choice for my family. My wife is super supportive. She take it or leave it. She just doesn't drink. And so it's really, really for my daughter. And it just makes me feel better.
Yeah.
And it, the occasions that I have drank in the last couple of years, like I'm not a young man anymore. Like it takes me out for a while.
Totally.
So, I mean, you know, for me, like the important things are being present in my family, being present in my job, business, and drinking kind of just takes away from that. So
Yeah.
I would rather go work out than sit at home with a hangover. So
Right.
it's a easy choice.
I'm curious if you guys have noticed this as well, but I've only been Austin for about 10 months, and I've had one guest on the show who is like he's been sober from heroin and alcohol for 6 years, probably closer to 7 now. And so you have individuals like him who are like in a program, whether it's like AA, NA. But as I look like even on this wall, like the majority of these people have very similar stories to you guys where they don't drink very often. If you know, it's few and far between. It's like Christmas Day and my birthday, I'll throw back a glass of wine or whatnot. And Austin does seem to just have, I don't know, I met so many people here and it feels like it's just like sort of a healthier place. Like I didn't come here to be around healthy people, but it seems like there are a lot of people who are making healthy choices with their lives or trying to better themselves more so than I saw in Northern California. Do you guys, when you think about like Florida and Washington and Jersey and the places that you've been, because you both have seen a couple parts of the U.S., do you also feel like Austin's sort of like a healthy hub in a way?
For sure, for sure a healthier lifestyle around here than other areas.
And I was not expecting that, right? It's hot as can be during the summer. And my wife is like a competitive marathon runner. And she spends a lot of time like around Town Lake running. And the running groups down there is insane on the weekends. I mean, there are hundreds of people running in 100-degree heat. And I'm like, where did all these people come from?
Yeah.
So, no, for sure, though, it's definitely like the amount of healthy people around here is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take my dog. When we were at Zilker, sometimes we'll go over to that little path that's the 12-mile loop around Lady Bird Lake. And the amount of traffic on that path every time just blows my mind. I'm like, what are you all doing out here? You crazy people?
Well, it even is things like, I mean, you obviously see it, but you don't even see people smoking cigarettes much around here. I feel like in South Florida, it's everybody smokes cigarettes.
I noticed that.
Unless people are vaping more now. I have no idea.
I was
But
in Chicago last week, and that's something I absolutely noticed. Like
Smoking?
tons of people were smoking.
yeah, and here you don't really see it a lot.
Yeah.
I never even thought about that, and you're 100% correct. I would say the same for Sacramento.
Because I pay attention. Because when I do bump into them, they're usually standing at an entrance to like a store you want to walk into, and you have to walk through their cloud of smoke. And I'm like, really? But you don't see it here a lot.
Yeah. So based off of how many people you've helped and coached and whatnot, let's say there's someone who happens to listen to this episode and they are, you know, maybe mentally flogging themselves a little bit because they don't go to the gym, they don't make healthy diet choices. I would say, first off, don't mentally flog yourself. Allow yourself some grace and compassion. After you allow yourself some grace and compassion from you two, what would you say, what is a good first couple steps looks like to move from couch to a little bit more of a healthier lifestyle?
Well, first, you can go to CrossFitLakeTravis.com.
Hell yeah.
And click free trial.
Yep.
Because Greg and I want everybody to feel comfortable and make sure it's a good fit, which we are very confident that it's a good fit for everybody. But we offer a free trial, and you just walk in the door and see for yourself that there's nothing to be intimidated by. There's nothing to be uncomfortable about. We have members who walk into our gym who have never fitnessed a day in their life. We have people who walk into our gym who have lived a very active lifestyle for years. It does not matter. Everybody fits. So you just have to walk in the door. That's it.
That.
You walk in the door and see for yourself. That's it.
Yeah, it really is. Just try it and do something different. And I think, you know, it's unfortunate CrossFit does have like the stigma that it's a bunch of crazy people running with their shirts off and, throwing weights and slamming stuff all over the place.
We do have that.
that
and
happens.
we love,
I
yeah.
found your minute video on YouTube last night, and there was one guy in there pretty jacked doing some something.
It happens, but then we have.
You know what's funny though is that we do.
We have older people
we do have a kids class. He's right.
Yeah. So it really is for everybody. Like people that never have picked up weight. We have, we've mentioned Philip, I think, on here by name,
I love him.
I just think the world of that guy, and he's 57 years old, and he gets fitter every year that I've known him. Yeah, and it is just insane. Like I tell him all the time, I want to be like you when I grow up, and I could not be more.
We also have a couple, Dan and Elaine. They're older. They are like OG CrossFit Lake Travis. They have been 10 years. Their daughter used to be a coach at the gym. They are absolutely amazing. They don't come to the gym to be jacked, or they come to the gym for longevity of their life.
Yeah.
They know that it makes them feel better. They are badasses in the gym. And they want to continue being badasses as they age. And they show up 3 times a week, maybe it's 2, every single week, and they crush it.
Yeah.
So you have members like that. You have members who want to go to the CrossFit Games. It does not matter. We're all in there together doing the same workout, just at different weights or different ability levels.
You bring up a really important point about longevity. And one story I've told on here a couple of times is that my grandpa on my mom's side, I think he died when he was 84, but he ran his own business and he was working, I'm pretty sure up until about 4 days before he died. He could talk, he could walk, he could move, he could cook, he could work, he could go to the gym. About 4 days before he passed away, he fainted one day, took him to the hospital, and he passed peacefully about 3 or 4 days later from a cancer that we had no idea he had. He didn't know he had it. Doctors didn't know. We didn't know until the autopsy happened. But as I reflected on that, after the grieving process sort of ended, and I think about that more, I think, what a beautiful way to go, to be able to be fully functioning and then peacefully go in your sleep a couple days later. And I have to think that a lot of it was because he was so active. He didn't stop working at 65 or stop going to the gym for whatever reason. He was always cooking his own food. He was active in the gym. There were people from his gym at the funeral because he was such an integral part of that community that he was going to.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you have to move to be able to move.
Right.
Like, especially as we age. If you don't move, your body is going to get stiff. And just little things like, I think, are we on camera? I didn't even know
we
were
are.
on
Yeah,
camera.
this will be on YouTube.
Okay.
Surprise.
Well, hey.
Back of my head the whole time.
I was going to motion something, and I'm like, not that y'all can see, but you can.
You can see.
I'm like over here fidgeting with my sweatshirt the whole time. Like things like we do push press, so like shoulder to overhead. We have a barbell or dumbbells, and it goes from here to here, right? If you can come to the gym and do that, you can put your dishes in the top cabinet of your kitchen.
Right.
If you can do a squat, you can get up off the sofa in your living room or a chair, or get up off your toilet as you age. Like people take stuff like that for granted, but I mean, learning how to properly pick stuff up off the ground is important. I mean, there's a video that CrossFit put out last holiday season that'll probably circulate again this year. And I watched it at first. I was like, where are they going with this? And I think I actually teared. But it was this elderly gentleman got up off of his chair in his living room, walked into his garage, and dusted off a kettlebell. Do you know what a kettlebell is?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yep.
He dusted off the kettlebell and started, like, when he first started, it got to here, and then he put it down. And then it got to here, and he put it down. And over the days, I think it was like a month period, he was able to do a kettlebell swing. The very end of the video was him being able to pick up his granddaughter to the top of the tree so she can put the star on the top of the tree.
I think I teared up a little
I
bit.
did, because I'm like, oh, my God, this could not be closer to the truth. Like, if you can do a freaking kettlebell swing, you can pick up your grandkid and get them to the top of the tree.
And CrossFit really is functional fitness.
It really is. And people, like Greg said, there's such, like, people look at CrossFit and they think it's just, I'm not strong enough. We get so many messages. I never thought that I was strong enough to do CrossFit. It does not matter if you've ever picked up anything in your life. you just come.
Yeah.
Like, it's not all about lifting heavy weights. It's just functioning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard someone say, I couldn't remember, but the exact phrase, but he was talking about the cost of not acting. So if let's say me right now, I'm 36 and I wasn't active at all. I didn't go to the gym, and I'm not going because I'm worried that I'm not going to be as strong as everyone else in there. So I don't go. And then I turn 37, and then 38 and then 39. Like that cost is, I sort of am creating that reality for myself, because if I had gone today, then wherever my strength, if I went consistently by the time I'm 40, would be astronomical. But if I wait till I'm 40 to go in, my body just spent 4 years decaying. And so I've set myself back. And so that's why I really do think it's important, just start today. Like,
Yeah.
Whatever you need to do, that's
This goes back to me kicking myself about not starting CrossFit when my friends initially told me years ago.
Yep.
My game would be so much better now.
You're
Right.
doing pretty good. So give yourself some credit.
But yeah, it's true. Just don't think about it. Just go. And again, this back to every CrossFit gym is different and unique. Our gym obviously can't speak for others. I can definitely speak for the ones I have walked into, which I will not.
Sure.
But our gym in particular, for people to just walk in and see our community and how welcoming it is and how unintimidating it is, that's all you need to do. Because I think the intimidation is what keeps a lot of people away. And if you can just walk into ours, you will see that that is not a thing. You will feel instantly welcomed and comfortable.
Yep.
And I can't stress that enough, because we really do have that. We have really special thing going on at our gym,
Yeah.
and we love it.
Well, I can't wait to visit.
Yeah.
I definitely have people and places in my own life that I can't wait to go to, because I know what to expect as far as the love and the warmth and the welcoming that I'm going to get. So to add another potential spot to the list sounds like a great thing.
Yeah.
I mean, again, thinking of people who are like not working out or maybe lonely, like that could be intimidating to sound like this new reality
If
of
you're
actually
home
having.
sitting on your sofa lonely right now, come to CrossFit Lake Travis.
Yeah.
There's nobody should be home feeling lonely.
No, not at all.
Makes me sad.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, it's really the highlight of my day. Like, I work from home, and so it's to be there and be around people off of Zoom. It's everything for my day. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. I'm so over Zoom. Hence why I'm only interviewing people that live in Austin right now.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you guys happen to offer do the coaches happen to offer anything as far as diet goes? If someone was just like, I actually have one friend who legitimately only eats frozen food or DoorDash. He doesn't cook at all. So for someone like him, he shows up, he does the workout, he loves it, he's sold on the workout spot, but then the diet side needs some help. Do you guys happen to offer anything?
So this is something that we are missing, and that Greg and I have been talking a lot about incorporating, and we will in the new year. We took over the gym. It's been about 1.5 years now.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, like Greg said, it was a lot. So we are now in a good spot to where we are ready to do the nutrition part of it. We have a lot of members who are interested in it. So we will be kicking that off.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can you remind me what paleo is?
Yeah. Paleo is pretty much like what the cavemen ate. It's meat and veggies, really. It's natural food. It's not anything processed, no dairy, no grains, no gluten. It's just all clean ingredients.
Got it. What made you just...
So I did personally a nutrition challenge for myself several years back, which eliminated all the allergen foods from my diet. And it was just meat. And with that said, it was like clean meat, right? Because you can go to the store. I'm not saying everybody needs to spend a fortune on all organic stuff, but it is better not injected with all, the hormones and all that nonsense. But just meat and veggies, really. And then after 30 days, and this was an alcohol too. You don't do alcohol. Remove dairy, pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And then you slowly start to incorporate some things back in to see what your body handles. But it really worked for me. I was able to get, for lack of a better term, like cut the way that I wanted to for my body. And it just made me feel good. I always struggled with like gut stuff or, bubble guts or just feeling bloated. And I just didn't anymore. And it worked for me. And it was enough for me to be like, all right, this is the way I want to eat. Every time I would try to eat something or bring something back into my diet that I took out, it would not sit right. And I'm like, okay, it wasn't worth it. Eating that piece of whatever it wasn't worth the aftermath of it.
Yeah.
And it stuck. And it just, some people think I'm a little crazy because I don't call it cheating because it's it's my way of life, but I have not veered away ever since. There's just different ingredients that you can use. And if you can't pronounce the ingredient on a label, I'm not eating it. That's big for me.
Yeah. How about you, Greg? Do you happen to follow like a specific diet, or would you say it's sort of you just try to keep it clean in general?
So I think for me, I mean, it's mostly paleo. It's not as strict as Karli, but I got to a point, I think last November, and I felt that I had just kind of plateaued in my fitness a little bit. Like I wasn't getting stronger. My cardio wasn't building like it should. And I did clean up my diet I cut out dairy, I cut out gluten. And it's predominantly, 95% meat and vegetables. There's some fruit around it. I guess the only difference, paleo-wise, like I'll eat some nuts that are not paleo. But yeah, it's very similar in that sense.
Nuts are just not peanuts. Yeah, I eat peanuts. I'm just kidding. And no sugar. I have not had sugar in
Sugar's
a
the
lot
biggest
of
one, I
years.
think. Yeah.
Like 0 sugar.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know, I don't think I have an intolerance to dairy or anything like that, but when I cut that out, I felt better. And it's just like, I don't know, over the course of 60, 90 days, something like that, I started getting stronger. I had more energy. I just felt better about life.
Yeah.
And so I'm all about gratification and seeing progress. So to be able to see it that quick from changing my diet, it's just something that I don't want to stray away from now.
Yeah.
That's another thing too, is people don't realize how much of weight loss is kitchen, not gym. Like you can do all the gymming, but sit there and eat pizza and Doritos all the time, and it's not gonna work.
Right.
I mean, for some people it might work, but it's a lot of kitchen. And sugar is in everything.
Yeah.
And sugar turns to fat, and that goes for fruit too. I mean, a lot of people will, if their kids aren't eating veggies, they'll throw all this fruit at them. And I'm like, no, you can't eat that much fruit. It's the same as sugar turns to sugar, obviously it's better to eat fruit than it is, Snickers bars every day, but sugar.
I will say, though, that people, if they're just getting off the couch, though,
Yes.
they don't need to feel like they need to boil the ocean. Don't clean your diet up. Don't start working
True.
out. Go on a sustainable path, right? If you're doing nothing, go work out once or twice a week.
Yeah.
Yes.
And build that 3-4 days a week. Then start addressing your diet and just do it in a more programmatic way to where it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle, and it's something that you're going to stick with.
Yeah. Yeah, I almost feel like that's why a lot of New Year's resolutions end up failing, is because you go and I'm going to buy the clothes, I'm going to get the gym membership, I'm going to go 7 days a week, I'm going to hire the personal trainer. And it's almost like if I was to say that my podcast is going to be as big as Joe Rogan from episode 1, you got to boil it. Like you said, you can't, I've never heard that phrase boil the ocean before, but I love that. That's a great way to put it, is if that's your expectation of, I'm going to lose 200 pounds overnight, or I'm going to be squatting 225 tomorrow, you're setting yourself up for failure. It's just not going to happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
You just got to do one thing at a time. And for a lot of people, as far as diet, so many people just drink soda or a sugary drink. Just cut that out. Just pick one thing and then go from there.
Yeah.
And it's amazing the changes that can happen.
Yeah, even in my own fridge, I used to drink probably 1 or 2 sodas a day. And the very first time I had like a Waterloo or a
That's where
LaCroix,
it's at.
I remember I hated it. I drank it. I was just like, who would ever drink this? If we open my fridge right now, 50% of the top shelf is dedicated to these. I have 17 different flavors,
Yep.
5 different brands, but I'm obsessed with them now. And I haven't had a soda in probably 8, 9, 10 years,
Yeah.
something crazy like that.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
We ended up just bought a Soda Stream, which just sparkles the water for you, because we just spent so much money on. It's like constant. My kids, they'll open a can and let it sit there, and I'm like, you can't drink
no.
that after it's warm. It doesn't
Right.
taste good.
Oh man, my wife does the same thing, and I walk around the house every night and drink flat Waterloos before I go to bed. So.
Yeah, because it's like you're not gonna dump that out.
know, it's like
a $5.
50
Yeah,
cents.
maybe not $5, but yeah.
I have a hilarious, or maybe sad meal prep story for you guys. I was in college and I was at my buddy Tommy's house, and a bunch of us were playing billiards and drinking and having a good night. And at one point, his roommate Brandon comes in the kitchen and he throws a couple of frozen pizzas in the oven. And then those frozen pasta meals you can get where like the gravy's sort of in there, and you just essentially throw it on the stove and heat it up, and the sauce melts, and then you got some very salty, sodium-filled pasta ready for you.
Yeah.
And so as he's cooking all this, I'm thinking, man, Brandon's a lifesaver. Like some pizza and some pasta sounds amazing right now. And so I'm not saying any of this, though. I'm watching him, assuming that it was for us. And at one point, he gets out a bunch of Tupperwares. And he takes the pizza out of the oven, chops it up, throws in half the Tupperwares, takes the pasta off the stove, puts that in half the Tupperwares, puts lids on everything and throws in the fridge. And as he's going through this process, I said, Brandon, what you doing over there, buddy? And he says, oh, I'm doing my meal prep for the week.
Oh, jeez.
I'm like, I mean, you are technically preparing meals. Like,
Yeah.
you're not
God.
wrong.
Yeah, we need to teach him how to shop the perimeter of the grocery store.
Right. Some fruits, vegetables, meats.
Oh, that's funny.
It was, I couldn't believe his, and he said it so genuinely. He he's just like, I'm meal prepping.
Duh.
Okay, right.
What does it look like I'm doing?
Right. Do you not see the Tupperware? All right, buddy.
Oh, man.
Well, before we end this, anything else related to health, fitness, or CrossFit Lake Travis that we should talk about?
I don't know. I think we covered a lot. I mean, we're pretty awesome. Just come see us.
What I'm curious for you two personally, what is your own personal physical accomplishment that you are most proud of?
Physical accomplishment.
In the sense of like something you squatted, a competition you won, for
We
example,
just did our first partner comp together and got first.
We did.
there you go.
Yeah.
What did that involve?
All the things.
There's a lot of things.
Yeah, it was all the things. Like what workouts were they?
Yeah, whether it's a PR. I did find your page last night, and I had no idea what I was reading. It was given like your rank with women in the U.S. versus regionally, and I was looking at all the numbers and just thought, I don't know if this is good, bad, medium, great, awesome, amazing.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. Okay, wonderful.
Karli's
Yeah.
ranked 20 in the world, so she is very
In the world. For what?
CrossFit.
Just CrossFit in general.
Yep. So CrossFit, you're ranked over like age group once you're old. So it is. It's
Stop.
yep, 28th in the world, and I actually feel pretty proud of that. So that's definitely and something that I've accomplished and I'm proud of. And then this coming year, I'll hopefully be at the games. I think that's pretty probable that that's going to happen. So we're excited about that. This fool and his wife and a couple others convinced us to do a half marathon Spartan race. I've never in my life run a half marathon, and I placed first on that as well.
Wow.
So that was a nice accomplishment. I also do jiu-jitsu. So that's a little surprise. I do that too. My whole family does jiu-jitsu. That's fun too.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's fun to win in that as well.
Yeah.
Winning can be fun,
Yeah.
but just, yeah, that was your question, right? Accomplishments?
Yeah.
I feel really good about that.
Karli wins a lot. I'm not very competitive.
You just won a
was fun.
competition
That was fun.
2 weekends ago.
And it was fun in the sense it was 4 workouts, and like we both know kind of where our strengths at. Like I'm not a big guy. Karli's insanely strong for her size, but like one of the workouts was like a max lift, and so when I go up to against somebody that's 230 pounds and I'm 170, like I'm just not gonna win that, right? And so we were able to game plan and kind of figure out like where we're gonna win, where we're not gonna do so good, and it played out perfectly.
He hit a PR.
Nice.
He lifted
Did hit a
more than
PR.
he would hit, so that was super exciting that day.
I've had like a mental block against getting 225 pounds over my head, and that happened. So that was
Nice.
fun.
Yeah. It's super fun and exciting to see what happens during Woohoo! We had another workout that was it was 5 minutes of max calories on a skier machine. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those.
I don't know that I have.
I'll show it to you in a second, but you are like literally you're skiing. You're pulling on handles and skiing. And then it was max devil's press. You know what that is?
Mm-mm.
You have 2 dumbbells, you go into a burpee,
Okay.
and then you swing them overhead.
Okay.
So we had to do that for 5 minutes for max reps on the devil's press and then max calories on the ski. And I'm so grateful for him being my partner because he pushed us to do a strategy that I did not want to do. But we did it. He told me we were going to do it, and we ended up winning both of those events. He skied for 5 minutes straight, and I did devil's press for 5 minutes straight. And it was something. Yeah. But we did that too.
Yeah.
Could the ski machine almost be a little bit similar to the never-ending rope?
No. Well,
Because in my head, I
similar
was
to that.
thinking like, even that for 5 minutes, if I was going for max calories, I'd be dead by the end of that.
Yeah.
have you ever used a rowing machine?
I have. Yeah.
So it's a C2 rower machine, like just configured different. I'm going to show it to you real quick.
Okay.
And he did this for 5 minutes straight, which is extremely impressive. Oops, wrong
Do you
page.
ski for fun by chance?
I used to. Living in Texas, it's a little bit hard.
It's a little harder. Yeah.
I lived in Colorado for about 10 years and was very into snowboarding and skiing.
I know I have a few friends that have moved to Colorado specifically for skiing, which for me is, it's crazy. I've never thought about moving somewhere for a hobby, even though, well, I sort of did it for the podcast, but not like a physical hobby like skiing or snowboarding. Or
So that's a skier.
Yeah.
yeah, I've never seen one of those before.
Yeah,
those
it's
those
super
aren't at
fun.
Golds.
No.
No,
Nope, they're at CrossFit Lake
they're
Travis,
at
though.
CFLT.
Yeah.
They're super fun. I don't know about for 5 minutes, though. He crushed it.
5 minutes going as hard as you can.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to do 5 minutes of anything, but 5 minutes of I'm just maxing this thing out. How'd you feel at the end of those?
Well, to be fair,
Let me show you.
devil's
Yes.
presses are much harder. So Karli had the harder one there, but yeah, I think both of us were. She'll show you a picture, but we were both a little tired at the end of 5 minutes.
Was the biggest burn? It looks like, guys, for those who can't see Karli's phone, it looks like a massacre happened.
Yeah.
It's bodies on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, for real. Did it switch? This is us after.
Yeah.
That was us after. That's how we felt. But 5 minutes after that, we felt great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CrossFit is there's a lot in competition, especially. There's a lot of pushing yourself to the max and then continuing to go. And a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people get to that uncomfortable spot or that comfort zone and then they quit. If you can figure out within yourself how to push past that, it is absolutely amazing how you will feel.
Yeah.
Just getting to that, your heart is racing, you feel like you're going to die, but like realizing you're not going to, and you just keep going. It's just, you feel absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I know it sounds crazy, but you do.
And I think CrossFit kind of pushes people to do that, regardless of if you're competing or just going to the gym. Like you do things that you never thought were possible. And you do feel uncomfortable sometimes, but then you're done and you're like, wow, I just did this.
Yeah, and you're proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Like you just asked if there was a lift that we hit or a back squat or whatever it is. So many people don't know what they can do because they never let themselves get to failure. They don't want to be stuck in the bottom of a squat and not be able to come out of it. But if you can get yourself to do that, then you know what your max is.
Right.
Like if Greg did 225, but never, ever, ever is going to try 230, he doesn't know if he's ever going to be able to.
Yeah.
But the first time he tries it, he might fail it, but then that's how he knows, you know.
Yeah.
You just got to keep going. Push yourself.
I think there's something to be said, too, for failing in the gym. I can't remember if it was a podcast called Modern Wisdom or a different one, but whoever the guest was talking about how if you're constantly failing in the gym, then you're sort of you're used to failing, and then if you fail financially, or maybe you say something to your partner that you didn't mean, or whatever the thing is, and you're failing at these other areas of life, you can typically bounce back from them quicker. So there's this whole other aspect of the gym of being okay with failure, and but if you're trying to protect yourself all the time, you're hiding behind the four walls of your house because you're so afraid of failing, when that failure does come, whatever it is, it's going to hit you like a train hitting you. But if you're used to failing literally on a daily basis, that it's not as big of an impact, because we're all human, so we're not perfect. We're going to mess up at some point.
Yeah.
But if you're used to failing, you typically bounce back quicker.
No, I love that and definitely agree with that. And I think like it goes for a lot more too, like successes in the gym, right? Some people can't handle successes outside of the gym. And I don't know, I think there's a ton that carries over that you learn in CrossFit or fitness in general that applies to everyday life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the same goes for pushing yourself beyond that max that you thought was possible. Like my husband and I, we just, there's a big competition coming up in January that you had to do online qualifiers for, and my kids did it. And my husband and I witnessed them, like, cry. They were in tears in the middle of the workout, but they did not quit. They knew what they wanted to do, and they kept saying, I'm not going to quit. I can do this. And they did it, and they felt great after. And that, as far as kids go, and he mentioned we have a kids program, just sets kids up for so much positivity in life, and it sets them up for success in other areas of their life, not just fitness, but they prove to themselves that they're uncomfortable, they don't like the way they feel, but they push through it, and then they felt great. And outside of the gym, that's just going to carry them so far in life.
Yeah.
With adults too. So fitness is fun.
Yeah.
And the kids program has been awesome. Like I mentioned, people talking about how we changed their lives, and it's just so cool to see kids and their parents doing the same thing. Like if the relationship is strained or whatever it may be, like they come in there, they do the same thing, they have something to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, time and time again we hear about, I can't believe we're doing this together. Like our relationship's better than it's ever been. So it's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, get the kiddos into it too.
Yeah, definitely.
And obviously we're pro CrossFit and CrossFit Lake Travis, but just do something, like just whatever with your kids, even if it's going out and riding a bike with them. That stems back to just getting up off the sofa. Your kids watch what you're doing and they follow footsteps.
Get some rollerblades.
Get some rollerblades, man. Join Curves. Do something.
Join Curves if they're in business still.
I don't know if they are.
I haven't heard that term, and so I know that was like something my mom did. I think when I was growing up.
So this is when I lived in South Florida. Like this was a thing. I don't know. I'm actually gonna have to look that up. I'm super
Google it
curious.
after the show. Yeah.
Curves.
Well, I have one final question for you guys that comes from a prior guest. It's an important one.
Uh-oh. Is it Steph? Did Steph ask a question?
No, it's not Steph.
Okay.
And if you guys, you do not have to, but if you have a question that you would like me to pose to a future guest, I'd be more than happy to. Whenever someone does drop a question, they never know who it's going to be asked of. So it's sort of fun because it's blind a little bit. This one is one of my favorites, and it is 3 parts. If you could go back in time and fight anyone, who would it be?
Like physically
Yep.
fight them?
If you could go back in time and have a meal with
a
anyone,
list.
who would it be? And if you could go back in time and change one event, what would it be?
Oh.
That is a good
If
one.
I could fight someone, I got a long list. No, I'm just kidding. No. I'm just kidding.
All these people in history you're holding resentments towards.
You know, I was actually just going to say if I could go back in time and fight someone, it would be fight myself for dropping out of high school. But if then I thought this has all just happened in 2 seconds, I thought about this. But if I would have done that, if I would choose that, then I might not be the person I am today. So that episode or experience in my life formed me into the person that I am today. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe my today would be different had I finished high school and chose a different path. I don't know. But I still might fight myself to say, why? Why did you do that?
I think that's an interesting point, and I think about that. Like, there's lots of stuff in my life that I'm not proud of, but the older I get, I think about would I change it? And I don't know.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I am who I am today. I'm happy. I think everything gets us to where we are, so.
Yeah, I agree. I might not be married to my husband I can't even imagine my life without, had I not dropped out of high school, got my GED, then moved to DC to go to school, because that's where I met him, is in DC. So maybe I wouldn't fight myself. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got to think longer about the fighting. I think going out to eat, maybe like Nikola Tesla. I think he's a super smart guy. I think he's a little insane. I think it would be a cool dinner.
I don't know who I would go to dinner with.
Fight.
Greg's not a fighter.
I'm not a fighter.
No.
Who is it then?
I don't know. Myself. I'd fight myself.
You got to think of somebody else.
Who asked you these questions? I'm just kidding. You don't need to say.
One of them, I guess, one of the guests said that I guess Abe Lincoln had a reputation for being pretty good in a brawl, so he said he would want to go back in time and fight him just because he'd want to see who wins. And I sort of like that perspective of just like, all right, I think I'm pretty tough. Let's see how tough Abe is, you know? So he'd go off and fight Abe. Someone else said Jesus for both the meal and the fight. It's like,
Oh my God.
That's very fair. You know?
Okay. What was the third?
If you could go back in time and change one event, what would it be? But you sort of answered that one already, because it's the whole butterfly effect concept of, you know, if you're happy with where, and that's something that actually a lot of people on this wall have had very similar comments that even as they think about the hardest things that they've ever been through, they're so happy and grateful for where they are now. They're like, I could take that away. But it's like your husband's the perfect example. What if I never met my husband? Because then this whole, you know, changing that one thing of staying in high school would have had this domino effect where you and Lawrence would have maybe never met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really can't think of somebody I'd go back and fight.
How about the meal one for you, Karli? You have anyone that you think if you could get an hour with anybody that you could pick their brain on, you'd want to chat with them?
I don't know. I'm not good with questions on the spot. Ask me tomorrow and I might have a nice answer for you.
I'll ask you when I come visit CFLT.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe in the next 2 minutes while I'm sitting here waiting for Greg to answer.
Where you
Have
said
something.
Nicholas Tesla for
he
your
did.
meal. How about
Yeah.
the changing one event? Is there anything, let's say that we take the butterfly event effect out of it. Is there an event in history that you would change?
Probably just like some of the genocide stuff that has happened in history. Like, I think that's all bad.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Agreed.
There's nothing good that came from that.
You know, this might be totally random, but I would like to have a meal with Julia Roberts. She has always been my favorite actress of all time, and I absolutely love how she is never involved in, like, media drama. She has even taken a step back from acting to be with her family, and she's very family focused, whereas so many actors just do ridiculous things and media. It's all about media. She's not that way, and she's just always been an amazing actress. I'd like to sit down with her.
Okay, I want to fight Julia Roberts.
Can
Just
I be the
kidding.
opponent in jiu-jitsu? Then I would fight her as well. In jiu-jitsu. That kind of fighting.
I like it. I like
There
it.
you go.
Who would you fight?
You, my friend, have had time to think about this.
Yeah.
Who would I fight? You know, there's a couple different ways. I think I might go back and fight some people that made fun of me in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, I would have stuck up for
I'll
myself.
fight them
in that
for you.
moment.
Yeah.
Thank you. We can
I
fight
will
them together.
There you go. I'll
Yeah.
fight
That's a
them
good
for
one.
you.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
yeah. That's who I would go back and fight.
I could think of some people there. I was thinking too big a scale.
Yeah.
You were going way back in time.
It was
You
like,
were like
Yeah.
thousands
Yeah.
of years ago, maybe a caveman or
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a hunter gatherer.
I'd like to fight a lion. No, just kidding. I would not like to fight a lion.
It would be interesting to for the meal to have a meal with like a hunter gatherer, like someone who has no concept of like electricity and like I just wonder what it would be like to wake up in a tribe and you go out and you hunt and you get plants and then you make a bonfire and then you skin the meat
This might
off
be our
the,
cue to leave.
You don't think a day in the life of like pre-technology and buildings would be like just to get if you could transport for just 24 hours, would you wouldn't want to do that?
I think it could be pretty fun,
maybe.
actually.
Yeah. It's like Survivor, right?
Sort of,
Not
except
Survivor. What was the... Did y'all ever watch Naked and Afraid?
Yeah.
They just drop them in an island completely butt naked with like one tool. And then they have to survive. That would kind of be
30
like
days
that.
or something. Yeah.
is that a current show or is it old?
I think it's still on.
I think it's
Yeah.
still on.
I might
You
look
can
that one up
probably
tonight.
Netflix it. Yeah.
There's a
That sounds fascinating.
ton of
I'm down.
episodes. Yeah.
They get dropped off and then they eventually like find other people because there's a couple different people dropped off in different areas, but it's something.
Most of them just starve for 30 days. And
Yeah, because we're not used to. We're so used to. We got grocery stores, DoorDash, fast food. Like if you live in the U.S. or at least I guess in not all of U.S., but like food is relatively accessible in this country. So yeah, to just be planted on an island with like a hammer.
I mean, we're freaking out a little bit when we didn't have access to food for a year or however long 2020 lasted.
Yeah,
I can't imagine not like having to kill and cook my own things.
completely different lifestyle.
yeah, it is.
Yeah,
My husband could get down. I however, could not.
is he a hunter by chance or does
He likes to hunt.
Yeah.
His background was hunting people.
Who is your husband?
But
Sounds like
yes, he does like to get out there in a blind and go hunting.
yeah.
I remember he asked me to go hunting with him once, and I like brought snacks that he didn't know about. So I went to go. Oh, he's like, he wanted me to go with him to hang out. Like, let's spend some
Bag of
quality time
chips or
together.
something. No
Yeah.
other snacks he could think of.
He wanted to spend quality time, but the second I opened my mouth, he was like, and I'm like, what? He's like, but he wouldn't let me say a word. I'm like, or I couldn't eat. It was bad.
Man, that's my kind of date.
So you didn't go again, I'm guessing?
He did. I did not. Yeah.
I didn't know
Anyway.
he hunted.
Yeah. He
go with
would
him
like to
sometime.
hunt more. Yeah, he'd like that. One thing I love as well is my husband. He is his background. He's former intelligence with SEAL Team 6. He's very like, if you're not his boy from the military, he's a hard time connecting with people. And us going into business together, they have developed a friendship that I absolutely love, and that also is super special and important to me too. So I love that.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
And he started doing CrossFit.
And he started doing CrossFit.
And my wife started doing
She
CrossFit.
did, and I love it.
Yeah.
The both of them, seeing the both of them there, it's pretty awesome.
It is.
Do you guys have any idea how much the gym has grown in the last 18 months? Do you
Yes.
yeah.
We have I mean, we've almost tripled it, to be honest.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Is there any point that it would max out, or would you just need to hire another coach?
We're
and
in the
add
process of building a new location that we're
Cool.
super excited about. It is not far from where we are right now. So we are building a new location with expanding in mind. But yes, we for sure will need, you know, some more badass coaches, and it will be awesome. We'll have a recovery room there, and some, we started a mobility class at our gym. And then we'll hopefully be extending that kind of stuff at our new location as well. It'll be fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's in a recovery room?
Like a cold plunge, infrared sauna, like things like that. Yeah. I had a little table and people could take a nap on. You know, I don't know. I have a little coffee bar and a proper hangout area. One of the big things about CrossFit, as we've said, is the community and hang out, and people have been known to stick around after workouts and just talk and hang out with each other. So we'll have like a proper area for that.
Yeah.
Which will be super fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I'm very happy for you guys. Congratulations on the
thanks.
new location.
Thank you.
Do you have a ballpark month, date, year that it might be open? Maybe.
This is something that we laugh about because I'll always say a sooner date than my husband, but by the spring.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
My guess is late summer. But we'll see.
Spring.
2024.
2024 for sure.
It'll happen in
will be-
2024.
Hopefully on the earlier side of it. Yeah.
Cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for
Thanks
being
for
here
having
tonight.
us.
I really appreciate your free time, and I genuinely hope some people hear this. And if you're in Austin, obviously CrossFit Lake Travis is the place to go. If you're not in Austin, just find a CrossFit gym near you, because I know that they're pretty prevalent these days. So shouldn't be hard to find one, and hopefully it's a good one. In the meantime, everyone, I hope that you have a healthy and happy Saturday night, and we will see you next week for another episode. Bye, guys.
Bye.